Hey guys, welcome back to Tamiya Legends, and as always, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. And it's a good one, or at least it's a good one for me. It's the Grasshopper, and this is the one from my personal collection. We've built a few on the channel over the years, but I've kind of always moved them on. But this one is for me, and it's kind of embarrassing that I don't have the Grasshopper in my collection already. This is literally where it all started for me. I won't go into the story, but the first proper RC car I came across was a Grasshopper because my friend bought one, and I was hooked instantly. So yeah, looking forward to this. I'll make this video because I know there's not a great deal to the Grasshopper, so I'll make the build as quick as I can. And anyway, let's get cracking. Right, that's step one. There's something very cool about building this old design chassis. It's so basic, but it's just so much fun. Anyway, lightly greased as you can see, because this, and I'm only using bushes, I'm not putting bearings in it. I doubt this will run, to be honest. But you never know, you never know. They are really good fun. Anyway, yeah, that's how the gearbox, and then the next step on two is to put 4 bolts in it and bolt it together. So on to stage 3, which gearbox is bolted together. I have to put the 380 motor in. I've just got to do, even though it's not running, because if you didn't know, back in the day, the standard Grasshopper, or the basic Grasshopper, came with a 380 motor. And what was so fun about it was kind of slow, as you could imagine, but the fun bit was when you upgraded to a 540 and the car just seemed ballistic in old terms, obviously. So yeah, I just thought, as a sort of touch, you know what I'm saying, it'd be silly not to put a motor in or a 540. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so now's the time to mount the motor in the gearbox, put the cover on. Right, moving on to stage 4 is we actually mount the gearbox to the chassis, and after we've done that, the Nerf bars go on. The Grasshopper never came with the springs in this unit. That was only first seen on the Grasshopper, which gave you this second bit of springiness where you don't get that. Oops, you don't get that on the Grasshopper. Not that it makes a massive difference, I don't think. Anyway, let's get that installed. Right, that's finished up till step 4. Step 5 moving on to, which is the rear shocks. And that's the rear shocks on. Stage 5 finished. If you don't know the Grasshopper, that's the rear suspension. That is it. And that's friction as well, remember. That's crazy, isn't it? It's so basic. But the thing about it is, as any of you who's had a Grasshopper, it's just, for such a basic design, it is so much fun, because obviously, as you would expect, that back end just hops around. It's pure class, to be honest. Right, just looking at the instructions, moving on to 7. So I need to dig an old servo out, so I can have a servo in there to keep the wheels straight. Right, so step 7 and 8 was getting the steering servo mounts on, obviously servo saver, and doing the tie rods to the correct size. And then on step 9, it's actually fitting the steering servo, but at the same time putting the bolt and washer on to just secure the top of the side bars. Right, that's the servo in, bolted down. Looking at instructions, so we're going to skip 10, which is fitting the electrics, and moving on to 11, which is the front arms assembly. So let's get that done next. Right, so that's up to stage 12 complete, which was the assembly of both arms. So you get your steering knuckles on, the lower suspension, and the turnbuckle ends. And then moving on to 13, it's to mount that into the chassis using, obviously, this bracket, which covers the front of the arms, and then the bumper goes on at the same time. Right, and that's up to stage 13. That's how that front end goes together, in case you've never seen it before. Looking at instructions now, 14 is the front suspension, which is again friction, and there's just a bit of rubber that you, or the screw that goes in the rubber that you oil up. So that's basically the car finished, bar the electrics. Such a simple design. So front end, that's your suspension. Very cool indeed, love it. Right, next stage is wheels and tyres. Right, that's the wheels built up, and if you've done those before, you know they can be a pain. Front's not so bad, the rear's quite awkward. It's just a technique to get it in. Lots of people use different techniques. Anyway, most important thing is the front screws are slightly shorter than the rears, and if you get that wrong, you've got a problem. Anyway, yeah, that's the fronts, and then the rears, let me show you, right down, yeah, so that's the correct where the tread's supposed to go. which is the outside of the wheel. And that's the way it's supposed to go. So obviously the opposite side is the opposite to that. So make sure you get that right, because getting that centre out isn't the easiest. Anyway, right, let's bang the tyres on. Let's bang the wheels on. And that's the chassis finished, my friends, bar obviously electrics. Now if you're new to this hobby and you're kind of just watching this video, you're going to look at a chassis and go, what the hell is that? Because yes, it is basic, but this chassis is such an important part of the Tamiya timeline, in my opinion. The Grasshopper really kind of launched Tamiya, I believe, anyway. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's it. That's your rear suspension. Again, remember, there's no bearings in this, but just, you know, that's still pretty free for bushes. 380 motor doing its thing, and then obviously the front suspension. Yeah, you get the idea. It bounces around all over the place. And she's built, and that was so much fun. I've said it many times, and I'm not just saying it. I get as much enjoyment building this basic, probably as basic kit as you can from Tamiya, as opposed to building something really high end from Tamiya. I don't know, TRF or something. The builds are completely different, but the enjoyment factor is the same for me. Absolutely loved that. I mean, that was literally probably 2 hours max, and that's including making the video. Just so much fun. So obviously in the next video, in fact, before we get to that, I mean, this will have been so many people's first RC car. You know, without a doubt, it's just so popular. I would hazard a guess, although Tamiya have never released figures. I know Anthony at TTP said that, I don't want to quote what he said because I can't remember, but the Grasshopper was certainly up there. I kind of feel that the Grasshopper is Tamiya's #1 best ever selling kit. The top three is the Grasshopper, the Hornet, and the Lunchbox. What order those three, 1, 2, and 3, I have no idea. My guess would be the Grasshopper first. And between the Hornet and Lunchbox, I have no idea. I would imagine that's very close. And obviously the Grasshopper was re-read, I want to say 2007, I think. So the second run of the Grasshopper has been out way longer than, I don't know when the Hornet was or the Lunchbox. I should have probably looked that up, but I know the Grasshopper was definitely the first of a re-re out of those three. I mean, yeah, just an absolute iconic car, and it's. I've got, obviously, this, I'm saying, obviously, you won't, I don't know unless you follow this channel. This body is painted. I painted this a while ago. But there's still a bit of work to do in the next video. There's a tyre rating to do, which is a nightmare on these tyres. Driver figure to paint up. There's a little bit of black paint to go on the stanchions on this body. And then we've got to decal it. But once it's finished, oh my god, it'll just look so good. In my opinion, I just absolutely love this car. It's so special to me. Anyway, I'll get cracking. I'll end this video now, but then I'll get cracking with part 2, and we'll get this bad boy finished. So as always, my friends, thank you so much for watching. Again, massively appreciated. And if you are new to this channel and you kind of like what I do, please subscribe, turn all the notifications on, leave us a thumbs up, leave us a thumbs down if you think I'm a dickhead, and say hello in the comments. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Whew. And as always, my friends, yeah, you know, happy RCing.